Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, and we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos. My vast video library pops up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below. Then if you can't, hit that like button and the share button as well. And if you don't want to be notified, best thing to do is hit that bell down below, and YouTube won't notify you when I come on live. So what you should do is go over to suspendedfanimation.com, take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it out every week. Also, I change it out sometimes during the week too, if stuff happens. And I also have the links to all my social media on there, and I have all the links to my pages on there as well. So, oh, excuse me. Had a little sneeze just before I came on. So, there's not a lot of news today, and it's kind of, or this week, I should say. It's kind of a weird one, but we'll see what we can dig up here. Um, so, I mean, this is kind of old news, about a week or two old. But John Watts, who of course directed the last three Spider-Man movies, including the one that just came out, on Thursday, he has been tapped by Marvel, by the MCU, to direct the new Fantastic Four movie. Um, how do I feel about that? Well, I mean, I like the Spider-Man movies, don't get me wrong, and I've seen the third movie, No Way Home, already, which I'll be talking about on Monday. But I wanted someone a little more dynamic, I think, for the Fantastic Four movies. Honestly, I would have brought John Favreau back in for that. I think he would do actually really, no pun intended, fantastic job. Yeah, I know. Will they finally get the Fantastic Four right? I'm pretty sure they will. Kevin Feige is involved. He's the producer of all this, so I'm fairly sure they're going to get this right this time. Penn. I mean, third time's the charm, as they say. So yeah, um, yeah, I'm not jazzed about John Watts being the director of it. Like I said, I would have had rather had John Favreau be it. Even Doug Liman, if they could have roped Doug Liman in somehow, bring him in. I think that those would have been better choices. But you know, I guess they're going for cheaper. I think is where they're going at. But I mean, and especially since John Watts, he's Sony's person. He's not really Marvel or Disney's person per se. So because that's part of Amy Pascal's stable. Amy Pascal, of course, being from Sony. And I just have to say one thing. There was, and this is non-spoiler, completely non-spoiler, but in the credits of Spider-Man No Way Home, they give thanks to Avery Arad, who said without him, none of the Spider-Man movies would have been possible. And I'm like, uh, you mean for Sony? Because Avery Arad, who worked for Marvel, sold off pretty much all the Marvel characters, comic book wise, all the rights to them to other, you know, uh, movie houses to keep Marvel Comics alive. And of course, it took forever for Marvel to get all their rights back, except for Spider Man, which is still stuck at Sony. And yeah, and that's what we have going on today. All thanks to Avery Arad. So I thought that was kind of a really shitty thing. I mean, that was pretty much a slap in the face to Marvel, quite honestly. Considering that Avery Arad is also one of the executive producers of the movies too. Raymond said, "Home won't be another origin story. They never get it right." I kind of, yeah, I kind of hope they just go with. There was an idea I had a while back of that they were actually around during the 60s, 70s, somewhere around there, and they got their powers then. But they Reed, of course, was doing one of his experiments early on into their career, if you will, and they get trapped in the negative zone until the current day. And they finally get released into our world. No one remembers them, of course, and that's when all their shit ensues. I think that would have been that would be a better way of doing it. That way you don't have to deal with the whole origin stories, if you will. Yeah, you can just have them appear and then you could say what their backstory was. It'd be a little bit easier. So, Gotham Knights, the TV series, is in the works over at the CW, and it's going to be done by the team that is doing Batwoman. So, for those of you who don't know what Gotham Knights is, so Gotham Knights is a game that is coming out, but it's also been a comic and all that kind of stuff as well. Um, it takes place. Bruce Wayne is murdered, and some villains in his gallery are framed for it. And this is what the TV series is going to be based on too. Is that Bruce Wayne is murdered, but in the TV series, yes, the villains are framed. A couple of villains are framed for his murder. Um, People like Nightwing, Robin, Batwoman, excuse me, Batgirl, and the Bat family get together along with these falsely accused villains to basically find out what happened and fight crime along the way too, because Gotham is just descending into chaos without Batman there to uh, put that all together. So sorry, Raymond, I didn't see your question there, but I'll get to it in a second. So Gotham Knights would have been great over at HBO Max. Uh, but on the CW, under the direction of the Batwoman team, no, no, and no. Batwoman's just a hot mess. It really is. And that's just because it started as a hot mess and they were trying to pick up the pieces and then it's just fucked up. Is really what they should just scrap the whole thing and start over, quite honestly. Or just let it go. The only thing CW wise that works right now is Superman and Lois, and I'm fairly sure it's only a matter of time before that gets fucked up too. So we'll see what happens. So Raymond, your question, will they tie it to Kang? Yeah, I think everything's gonna be tied to Kang at this point. I mean, you have the whole multiverse thing that is evolving on Disney Plus on the Disney Plus series, which of course is in the MCU. Yeah, it's all MCU canon. And remember, all the animated stuff, even though yes, it's animated, it is MCU canon. It all takes place within the MCU. So yes, this is all going to cross over into the movies. The movies are going to cross over into the series. Blah 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 blah. So yes, Kang will be involved at some point in time. I mean, Kang is an Avengers character, Avengers villain, but he has gotten involved with the Fantastic Four as well because Kang has ties to Doctor Doom. And yeah, there's that stuff. And also, Kang's real name is Nathaniel Richards, kind of like, Reed Richards. So there is a tie to the Richards family. So yeah, I'm fairly sure King will be involved in all of that, especially in the Fantastic Four. Although not at first, but I'm fairly sure there will be something. Um, so Free Guy, which was released, of course, over the summer, uh, it was a Fox movie, which is owned by Disney. And so as a result, Free Guy is going to be available to watch on Disney Plus on February 23rd of 2022, which is great because I still haven't seen it. I was actually thinking about renting it for the $5 or whatever it is on Amazon, but I'll just wait. I can wait until February to watch it. I mean, I'm not in that much of a rush. I finally saw Nobody. I rented that for $5. I think it was last week, and I was like, "Ok." And I forgot that Derek Kolstad was the one who wrote it, the guy who wrote John Wick 1 and 2 and part of 3. So he was the one who created the whole John Wick universe. I'm like, yeah, I should have known better. This is actually going to be a good movie. And yeah, it was a good movie. I'm just glad I saw it on my TV. I didn't want to see that in the theater. I know everyone's like, oh my God. The whole thing between theater and TV again. Um, I think a lot of today's directors are or I should say, a lot of today's older directors are biased against home theaters at this point and just don't realize that yes, everyone has access to a good home theater now that's just as good as something in your that you're going to get actually sometimes even better than the movie theaters. Yeah, Christopher Lloyd, I'm kind of sure they CGI'd him a couple of times because I don't think that was him walking, quite honestly. At least not without help. So yeah. Yeah, Christopher Lloyd was good in it. I mean, even though he slept through a good portion of it. But anyway. Something that does look like it's going to be really batshit crazy. So if you go over on my Facebook page for Suspended for Animation, I have posted the link to it. It's a movie that's going to be coming out on March 25th, 2022, called Everything Everywhere All at Once. And it stars Michelle Yao and also Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, as well as a couple other people as well. And what is it about? Really, it's about the multiverse. Again, a multiverse concept. Only in this case, Michelle Yao's character is this woman who is, I guess, in the worst life, as you could say, and she is being recruited by um, someone who knows about the multiverse and says that she has access to all of the other multiverses memories, experiences, and abilities. And so this is like across infinite numbers of multiverses. And she is the one that needs to save all the multiverses from being destroyed and eaten, essentially. So, yeah, um, lots and lots of fun. It looks like a lot of fun. It really does. And Jamie Lee Curtis fighting Michelle Yao at one point as a frumpy social worker, I think is what it is, which looks hilarious as well. And thanks, Penn, for putting it up. Yeah, so Penn put up the link. If you go to suspendedfanimation.com, all the links are there, and you can go over to my Facebook page there and see it in all your, or you can go over to YouTube and just type in everything everywhere all at once and see where it goes. Applecross, I really like the idea we talked about years ago about the FF being set back in the 60s. Yeah, I like that one too, Apple Crow. But with the MCU the way it is, I don't think it's going to work. I really don't think it's going to work. Um, is it a comic book movie, Raymond? No, it's not. It's not a comic book movie. This just looks like it's batshit crazy insane, which I'm all up for. Anything that is different, that is not the same old stock footage shit. Speaking of stock footage, we'll get into that on Mondays. Is worth my time too. There's some funny stuff that's involved. Anyway, yeah, it's not a comic book movie. It's from A24, which is I want to say it's a British, no, it's a European company. That a European movie company, and if I remember correctly, I think Sam Esmail has some ties to that as well. Mr. Robot. I think I can't remember offhand. Raymond says, "Did you see the trailer for the new Nick Cage movie?" Yes. So I don't know if you remember, Raymond. Way back in March, they did a teaser for it. I want to say it was like March or April, and I actually talked about it here. And I was like, "That's the movie I want to see, where Nick Cage is having conversations with himself from all his different roles." And they finally released the full trailer because it's coming out next year. Yeah. And actually, that is on the group page. If you go on Facebook, Suspended Fanimation, um, I've got a group page that's there as well, and I put it there. The unbearable lightness of being great, or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. It's got this really long, pretentious fucking name, which is perfect for Nick Cage, considering that it's all about Nick Cage being Nick Cage and having uh God, the guy who plays the Mandalorian now, Bader Pascal, is that right? I'm blanking on his name. But yeah, having him be this billionaire who's hiring Nick Cage to come to his birthday party or something like that is just, it's pretty fucking funny. Yeah. Thanks, Penn. So, something else I already talked about here too before. So there's a Blue Beetle movie. So Blue Beetle, of course, being the character from DC Comics. Um, and it was going to be an HBO Max movie, and now it's graduated from being an HBO Max movie to a theatrical release movie, which has a theatrical release movie date of August 18th, 2023. So this is the Jaime Reyes version of Blue Beetle, not the Ted Cord version of Blue Beetle. Yeah. Penn says it'll be either great or complete trash, like most Nick Cage movies. Oh, it's gonna be it's gonna be a total train wreck. I'm fairly sure, Penn, no matter what. But this one looks like it's just gonna be fun, of Nick Cage chewing scenery with Nick Cage. That's the reason why I'll see it. Um, yeah, I've been going back again on kicks of watching really weird shit again. So what was it I watched? Riders of Justice, which is Mads Mikkelsen. It's a movie that's done in his native Danish language, and it's basically about a guy whose wife dies, and he's out in on a war someplace. He's a soldier, and he comes home because his teenage daughter, is all that's left there, and she dies in a train accident, is what it is, and his daughter was there too, and he gets told that it was actually the train got wiped out because it was a hit on a got an informant that was on the train with his wife, and it's from a motorcycle gang. So of course he ends up going on a killing spree, but it's completely different than what you think it's going to be, and it's fucking batshit crazy. That's all I can say. And I love Mads Mikkelsen, man. He picks some roles that just are out there, just completely fucking out there. And when he does his independent stuff, yeah, Mads Mikkelsen will pick like the weirdest roles, and I love him for it because he consciously picks those things. So, um, Alcro says, "I forget, Dennis. Did you do? It's a worth my time for Prisoners of the Ghostland. I've never heard of Prisoners of the Ghostland. Applecrow, never heard of that. So no, I have not done one for that. Yeah. So why is that something that is that Netflix or something, or well, you can tell me as we go along here. The Sweet Tooth showrunner Jim Mickle, he is going to be bringing the Image comic God Country to Netflix as a series. So this is part of a deal with Legendary Pictures, or Legendary as they're now just called. And so God Country, which is an Image comic is about guy who is Emmett Quinlan, who's an old widower affected by dementia and violent outbursts. When a tornado hits his West Texas town, which obviously they do all the time, Quinlan is rejuvenated thanks to an enchanted sword he finds in the wreckage. but now he must use it to protect his family and what remains of the town against terrifying otherworldly creatures seeking its power. Dun dun dun. So yeah, I'm like, okay, I'll I'll give it a shot. I'll watch it and see what it's like. I'm not holding out any hope for it, but we'll see what happens. Raymond says the DC showcase of Blue Beetle that came out a few months ago was funny. Blue Beetle right now, the Jamie Reyes version is on Young Justice. If you want to see what that character is about, there's an entire season. I believe it's season 3. It's either season 2 or season 3, where it deals nothing but Blue Beetle and his scarab that he has on him, which is alien in origin. And that's pretty much what the movie is going to be about, really, too. So there you go. Apple Crow says it's Nick Cage's most recent release. I will say the trailer is much better than the full movie. If it had come out in the 80s, it would have been a cult classic. Okay. Oh, Prisoners of the Coastline. Okay, yes. I do remember hearing about it, but like I read the synopsis for it briefly, I think, and then I was done. He was making a whole bunch of movies at the time, like Willy's Wonderland or Wally's Wonderland or something like that, which is out on Hulu. I still haven't bothered watching it. Pig is when he also made around that time too. Um, he made like 3 or 4 movies. I can't remember which one it was, but they all were grouped together in that one little section. I think he did them all in like 1 week or something. I do like in this latest trailer for this movie that he's doing, The Unbearable Lightness of Being Famous or something like that. Neil Patrick Harris is the one that talks him into doing the gig because he needs the money for the hotel that he's been staying at, which he owes them $600,000. Yes, Raymond, I heard the same thing. I heard that Pig was unexpectedly a good movie as well. I still can't believe it, and I don't believe it because I only heard it in a few places, and then it kind of died off. And normally, if it's a good movie and it's one of those underground kind of things, you'll get a constant river of people saying it's good, but not just a couple people going, yeah, it's pretty good. It's better than I expected. And then done. That's what I've been getting, where it dies off after that. So yeah, I'm okay with holding off on it for a little while. So finally, the last thing I've got here is for those of you who are fans of Julie and the Phantom over at Netflix, they've officially canceled that thing after 1 season. I know the Julie and the Phantoms fans are rabidly insane about wanting that thing to have another season coming back. Anytime there's a mention of Netflix on Twitter, there are people always asking about Julian and the Phantoms. And I guess Netflix finally got tired of it and they're like, yeah, canceled is what they said. So we're now officially canceling it. So there you go. I never watched it. I know it's supposed to be more like a tween thing, although there's some adults that have gotten into it as well. No judgment on that. But yeah, I never watched it. So not in my bag. So that's all I got for you guys, really. I mean, like I said, it was a pretty slow news week. There really wasn't much out there. Um, I did look. I did scrape the bottom of the barrel for a few things, but you know, not much else. And plus, I'm going to be doing some more, you know, uh, location scouting, as we say, looking for a place to live. Apple Crow says I would still recommend Prisoners, just because most of us remember that kind of movie from the 80s, 90s. It's more bizarre than good, I'll say that. Okay. And this is the one where he's a mechanic. No, that's Wally's Wonderland, where he's a mechanic that is hitchhiking or something like that, and he somehow, for one reason or another, gets talked into spending the night at the animatronic place fixing some of the animatronics in exchange for room and board or something like that. but there's ghosts or, you know, the animatronic figures come to life and try and kill people and blah 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 blah. Yeah. Anyway, get what I'm talking about. So, what else do I have going on the rest of this week? Well, funny you should ask. Tomorrow is going to be an episode. Well, actually, the episode that I preempted on Thursday and I moved it over to Sunday. It's going to be Station 11, season one, episode one of Station 11. That is on HBO Max. Monday will be a new episode of Is It Worth My Time? And it will be Spider Man No Way Home. That's right. We'll be talking about Spider Man No Way Home. I'll do a spoiler free version at the beginning, and then I will do the spoiler version after that. Don't worry, I'll have the sign up there and all that stuff. So you'll be able to know what the difference is. Um, Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time as well. It's going to be The Witcher season two. If I can stay awake through the episodes, I think the episodes are just a little too long, and I'm falling asleep near the ends of the episodes, and I'm having to wake myself up and rewatch the endings. So yeah, that'll be Tuesday, hopefully. Wednesday will be the season finale of Hawkeye, and that'll also be the contest as well for Hawkeye. There's contests for pins, which will be announced during the you know that final episode of Hawkeye. Um, Thursday is going to be another episode of Station 11. Friday will be another double header. It'll be the season finale of The Wheel of Time, and then, of course, episode 3 of The Expanse. And then Saturday rolls back around again to Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news. Actually, you know what? That Saturday, because since it's Christmas Day, I'm probably going to preempt that, and I probably won't do an is a Saturday Morning Blast Off on Saturday. So yeah, I think I'm going to be, that since everyone's going to be doing Christmas and all that stuff, I will be as well. We'll just preempt that one. Raymond says he doesn't speak throughout the whole movie. Ooh, man. Apple Crow says it's Fury Road without Furiosa and George Miller and exposition and Nick Cage instead of Tom Hardy. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, no. It's kind of funny. There's a discussion going on online right now about who should be the new Wolverine, who should be cast as the new Wolverine, and um, Matthew Vaughn, of course, who directed X-Men First Class. He also directed the Kick-Ass movies, the Kingsman movies, all three of them. One of my favorite directors right now. And actually, I think he did the best with the X-Men, even though he had Bryan Singer's hand up his ass most of the time. Um, he actually said that Tom Hardy was his pick, or Taron Egerton, who of course plays Eggsy in the Kingsman's films. I can see Taron, if he bulks up, he would need to bulk up a lot, quite honestly. But I was saying Wes Chatham from The Expanse, who plays Amos, would be a good he would be a good bet, especially since he's going to be kind of free after this season. And Apple Crow says Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage wouldn't be a bad thing to, yeah, have him as, he might be a little too old to play Wolverine. So Raymond says, do you do your top 5 movies and shows of the year? I haven't really. I mean, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, Raymond. It depends on if the mood strikes me. It's really hard to do like a top 5, quite honestly. Um, I've done them before, but I'm very mercurial when it comes to that. You ask me one day, it'll be completely different from the next day. It really will. Penn says Hugh had to bulk up, so why not his replacement? True. I mean, but Hugh bulked up with enhancements, shall we say? Yeah. And Wes Chatham, is actually former military, so he's used to bulking up, and he could actually do it, I think, without I mean, granted, Chatham is pushing 50s, like, he's in his mid 40s, right? Or was it 76? No, 78. That's right. He's born in 78. So, yeah, he's in his early 40s there. And Tom Hardy is only 2 years younger than, or 2 years older than him. So, I mean, it's not that much age difference between those two. Yeah, I looked it up, Pen. I really did look it up because I was like, is he, and I was like, oh, Tom Hardy might be too old. And I looked up Tom Hardy's age and I'm like, all right, he's 70, 1976 is when he was born. I'm like, all right. And then I was like, well, maybe West Chatham. And then I was like, well, Chatham's got to be younger. And I looked it up and it was like 78. And I was like, really? Okay. So yeah, he looks a lot younger than he is. But yeah, I could see him playing Wolverine for a few years. Then again, I could see Taron Egerton playing him as well, but and someone also said Aaron Taylor Johnson, the guy who played Kick-Ass. Actually, Matthew Vaughn said that. Of course, two people that he's worked with before, and I was like, all right, I could see Aaron Taylor Johnson because he actually puts on a lot of bulk. He's just too fucking tall. That's the only thing to play Wolverine. Wolverine's supposed to be 5'3". You know, he's supposed to be 5'3", ugly as sin, and just an animal, essentially, is really what he's supposed to be. And I was thinking John Bernthal at one point, but John Bernthal is like, I think he's older than me. I don't know if he'd be able to do it. And plus, he's the Punisher already, which they're talking about bringing him back into the MCU anyway, which it looks like they're doing as it is. I mean, they brought back Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin into the MCU. Um, I have spoilers on other stuff that I can't say right now because not everyone's seen certain things. So there are things that are coming back. And the thing is, I have no prior knowledge of any of this. This is just stuff I've already seen. So, yeah. So, now have Tom Waits play Old Man Logan. Why not Danny DeVito, Apple Crow? If you really want to go down to it, let's have Danny DeVito play Old Man Logan. Yeah, I know John Bernthal is he 45? He's only 45. Oh, there you go. He looks a lot rougher than that then. You look at it this way, Penn. You're gonna need somebody in their 30s if you really want to get a good franchise out of them. And I'm talking like young 30s. Uh, you know, Preferably you'd want somebody in their late 20s in order to play it. No, Joe Maniello is too tall. Again, he's way too tall. He's like 6'5", 6'6". Dude's like really fucking tall. Yeah. But yeah, they need to go someone Apple says you laugh, but I bet Danny DeVito could nail it. He could. I think he could as Old Man Logan. Although the enhancements, I mean, he would have to take a lot of enhancements in order to get down to some kind of fighting shape. I don't know if he could take it. I mean, he's in his late 60s, early 70s now at this point. Joe is in his 40s, Penn. Is that right? Yeah, he's in his 40s. Apple I just want more Frankie Adams. Let her play Wolverine. No. Um, Although she could play. Trying to think of who she could play. Who would Frankie Adams be able to play as either a mutant or a superhero? Hmm. I don't know. I'd have to get back to you on that one. There's just too many to. I don't think Psylocke. You know, Olivia Munn didn't do a bad job as Psylocke. I'm gonna say that right now. She did not do a bad job as Psylocke. It was just the script that was pretty shitty. That's all it was. So Olivia Munn didn't do a bad job. And she's tiny too. I mean, I literally was pushed up against her at one Comic Con. Um, we were out in the street. We were trying to cross. I think I've said the story time and time again. She had handlers surrounding her um, to keep her away from all the peons. And somehow or another, I think it just opened just a little bit and I got pushed in against her. And she looked terrified. And I was like, sorry, as we were getting pushed across the street in a surge of people. And then I somehow broke back out of the pod that we were in. And that was it. So, Olivia Munn, if you're out there, I know you haven't seen this thing, but sorry, that wasn't anything I had any control over. I just got pushed in. So that sounded wrong, but there we go. Penn says, but they'll want 20s. Joe is pretty perfect, but not for Wolverine. Someone actually said Zac Efron. Someone mentioned Zac Efron. I was thinking about him like he's too tall, but I think he could bulk out, quite honestly, and you could actually get a good Wolverine out of Zac Efron. And supposedly he's real hairy as it is in real life anyway, so you wouldn't have to, glue on any of the hair or anything like that. There you go. And Zac Efron's in his 30s, right? There you go. Yeah, I was kind of going through like different action movies and stuff like that to see who's around, and yeah, it's really hard to find somebody that can actually play that character. Penn says Zach is downright pretty, but a better actor than. Yeah, he is a good actor. He actually is a decent actor. So, yeah, I don't know where that came from. I guess he just got tired of people, you know, you know, excuse me, kind of passing him off as a pretty boy and saying, blowing him off, saying, yeah, whatever, you can't act, and you're just good looks and nothing else. And um, didn't he play like Ted Bundy or something like that in one of isn't there like 15 Ted Bundy movies that are out there, and he's one of them, I think. It's kind of like the multiverse of Ted Bundys. It's just that's a fucked up thought, but really that's what it was. It's the multiverse of Ted Bundys. Mhm. I agree with you, Aaron. You could also get a nobody as well. That's what Hugh Jackman was. Hugh Jackman was a stuntman. He was an Australian stuntman who was best known for some TV series in Australia about soldiers. Uh, what was it like? Jungle Rats or something like that. I can't remember what it was called. And they flew him out like last minute kind of thing and had him actually do a screen test for it. And then I think it was like 48 hours later, like you're hired, and they brought him in. Yeah. Yeah. Still holding out hope for Into the Joker verse. Yeah, you're gonna be holding out hope for that for quite a while, I think, Apple Crow. I think Into the Bundyverse will get made before Into the Jokerverse will. So yeah. Anyway, with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go for the night or the day or whatever time of day it is where you are. Apple Crow, it's always overcast and dreary, and it's Texas. So, I mean, it's always a dark, dark time there. Um, I kid somewhat. Thanks to everyone who joined me today in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. You too can be insulted on live, on take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. If you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. Also, if you want to, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you don't want to be notified by YouTube when I come on live, you can hit that bell down below. It's pretty useless, but you can do that, or you can go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I put up there. I change it every week. Also, all the links to my social media are there, and all the links to my pages are there as well. So, Penn says at least 9 actors have played Bundy. Fuck me. Oh, see that is right there. Like I said, the multiverse of Bundys. I wasn't far off from the 15 that I was talking about. So yeah. Uh, uh. Hour says, "Nah, it's in the 50s, the 1850s." Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, it's been fucking cold here too, man. It's in the 40s here, like the low 40s too. I forgot to put a sweater on the dog this morning, and she's like, "All right, whatever, I'm good." She didn't care, but now she's home and yeah, just huddled up underneath the blanket now. She has her own blanket, or blankets, I should say. She has multiple blankets around the house. She's got multiple beds around the house. So, I mean, what do you want? The small dog, they usually run your life. Applegrose's actual weather here has been very pleasant. Oh, interesting. Well, it gives you more time to see the horsemen of the apocalypse riding across the horizon. And on that note, I want to let you guys go for the rest of the day. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow for Station 11. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, I don't know. They came by yesterday. Were they collecting for UNICEF? Was that what was going on, or what? Um, yeah, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you might have the four horsemen of the apocalypse knocking on your door collecting for UNICEF, because that's what ends up happening. Uh, Penn says Carrie Ewells, Corin Nemec are two of the Bundy actors. I've never watched any of them. I haven't either. Thank you, everybody. Salvation Army, actually, smartass. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care. Get those vaccine shots, get those flu shots as well. Wear those masks and stay safe out there. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, have a good one, and see you tomorrow. Thanks.